Welcome to the podcast Quick Start Guide. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a high-level overview about podcasting and exactly what we're going to be covering in this course. Now, one of the things that I really like about podcasting is that unlike a blog post or a video, you can command the attention of your audience for an extended period of time, upwards of an hour or longer. And I've actually seen podcasts that have gone over 2 hours in length and have still engaged their audience for that entire 2 hours. And as a result of an extended engagement, your content has the best chance of leaving a lasting impact on your followers. And I know for a fact that this has happened to me in my podcast. Once people hear your voice for hours on end, they kind of feel like they know you. And at that point, the attachment between you and your listener becomes that much stronger. So as a result, having a podcast is a great way to extend your audience or complement an existing business that you already have. Now, I thought I'd just share some of the results of my podcast as soon as I launched. Within 3 hours of launch, my podcast immediately hit the #1 ranking in all of iTunes for the business and marketing section. And within a couple more hours, I managed to hit the #2 spot in the overall business category, just behind Dave Ramsey. Now, what impact has this had on my online business? My blog traffic has since increased by roughly 15%. My daily email list subscribers have increased by over 25%. And what's important is my affiliate revenue and the revenue from my own products that I sell have increased by over 25%. So one thing I do want to drill into is that having a podcast really makes a difference. And the great news is once you take this class, you will have your own podcast in less than 2 hours. Now, what are we going to be covering in this class? So a lot of people have this misconception that starting a podcast is complicated. But bottom line, all you really need are 3 main components. 1, you need an audio file that you're going to create. 2, you need a place to host your MP3 files. And then 3, you need an RSS feed that you can send out to syndicate your podcast on popular services like iTunes and Stitcher Radio. And that's pretty much it. Just those 3 very simple steps. It really isn't that complicated, and I'm going to hold your hand throughout the entire process. So what's the first step? The first step, obviously, is that you need to create some audio. So here's what you'll learn. You're going to learn how to record and produce high-quality audio without an expensive microphone. There's this misconception that you need really expensive equipment in order to create a high-quality podcast, and that is definitely not the case. I'm going to show you how to use software to record a conversation in the event that you decide to do an interview-based podcast. Now, if you've been on iTunes listening to podcasts, you've probably realized that interview-based podcasts are all the rage right now. I'm also going to show you how to post-process your audio using free software to make your audio sound crisp and professional. Now, this last step is important because people who listen to podcasts are generally really anal about sound quality. And I'll show you exactly how to produce a professional recording using free software online. Now, once you have your audio in place, you need a place to store it. Now, I recommend the service Libsyn for this purpose, and I thought I'd just give you a high-level overview about how Libsyn works because it doesn't work like how a traditional file hosting service works. Now, the way it works is you get a set amount of storage per month, and you can upload as many audio files as you want within this threshold on a monthly basis. Now, here's the twist. Every single month, you get your bandwidth allotment restored, and everything that you already upload kind of goes into syndication, and at that point, the entire bandwidth of all your podcasts is unlimited. Now, this part is key because this means you can upload as many audio files as you want, and the bandwidth is going to be unlimited forever. So in the event that your podcast becomes popular, and it will, by having unlimited bandwidth, your costs will not scale with your podcast popularity. So once again, the way Libsyn works is you're allowed to upload X number of megabytes per month, but everything that you upload has unlimited bandwidth, and then that storage threshold essentially resets every single month. Okay? Finally, you're going to need to create an RSS feed. And once again, when I first started podcasting, I also had this misconception that you had to manually upload all of your audio files to services like iTunes and Stitcher Radio. And the reason for this misconception was because I was used to producing YouTube videos. And the way YouTube works is, you upload your video file manually each time you want to upload a new video to the service. But that's not the case with podcasting. Instead, what you do is you create a file called an RSS feed, which is kind of like a table of contents for your podcast. And it's basically a directory of all of your audio and all of your show notes. And then what you do is you take this file and you send it to services like iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and they take this file and essentially display your podcast online using this information. And so in order to create this RSS feed, I'm going to show you how to use the popular content management system WordPress in conjunction with a free podcasting plugin called Blueberry PowerPress. Now, once you have all these three components in place, you're essentially ready to launch your podcast. And this course is going to hold your hand throughout the entire process, so stay tuned.